Oh, say, can you see the light? What's the problem? Shouldn't have turned down those cue cards.
All right, welcome back to the United States of Australia. And we have another new guest. He's familiar from the old Malatown days. He came on vacation to Malatown, but it's his first time joining all of us on the show and in the new format, the new show, United States of Australia. Welcome for the two-man power trip. Eyes up here, IB exclusives. What else you got going on?
You got a couple more. Come on.
I mean, there's your resume of working for Howard Stern, working for the WWE. You've done so much in your career.
It's enough. We can go on forever.
Welcome, Chad. Welcome to
Thank you. Very nice to be here. Appreciate the platform as usual.
Ozzy's just trying to make up for all the shit he talks about you when you're not here.
Yeah. You know, it's tough. He goes silent sometimes, and I'm like, is he mad at me? Does he hate me? Is he mad at me? We got heat. What's the problem? Because he'll disappear for a little bit, and then you're like, where'd he go? But then you're like, well, he's on the other side of the world. So who knows what the hell's going on between now and then? I mean, really, if you go by Simpsons logic, they're on the literal like upside down part of the world. So
that's right.
Who knows?
The toilet flushes the other way.
That's the extent of my knowledge. That and what else? Crocodile Hunter. Come on, I'll just go the generic route with all my Australian knowledge.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
Shrimp on the Barbie, yeah, which we don't even call them shrimp. That's what's hilarious.
That's not a knife.
Yes. I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. Always love that.
What do you call them?
Prawns.
I thought they were going to call them shrimpery doos or something like that.
Very good. So for those of you that don't know, obviously you do know about the show Get My Go. I plug it all the time, but that's how I know Chad. He's joining us because today we're doing a Get My Go style segment of some audio that has never really been covered by Get My Go. Some snippets have been heard along the way, but it's never got the full breakdown. So what we're doing here today, the infamous Rad Rob Confession. Now, for a little bit of context for everyone. Yeah, so in the early days of Get My Go, there was a falling out between Rad Rob and his business partner, Johnny Podcasting. And Johnny Podcasting had some information on Rad Rob that is pretty damning. So on a podcast, Rad Rob decided to take the power back and admit to the dirty, dark secret in his closet. And it's a beauty. This is great. I can't believe this episode is still up. Even though a bunch of people already know about it, I don't know why you would continue to leave it there for people to grab. But I grabbed it the other day. I had this idea. Chad, I'll throw to you first of all. Give everyone your thoughts on Rad Rob and the whole situation there with Johnny Podcasting.
It's really still up. Like it's active on his feet. Oh my God. Come on. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I only clipped this like a week ago.
See, I mean, the thing with him is I thought what's fascinating about the going to the audio or going to the podcasting for the confession was, why would you do it on a wrestling podcast feed? Because, like, imagine he had actual listeners. Pause. There's the joke, right? Imagine he had actual listeners tuning in to listen to wrestling content, and then you just hear this guy going into this story about what we're going to hear. And you go, okay, like, did Roman Reigns win the belt last night? I wasn't expecting that. But again, what we've covered on Get My Go for years now is this fake concept of businesses and podcasting and relationships, and that two guys that thought they were in partnership because they did podcasts together. And essentially, they just, like I've always said, played podcaster. So out of this guy's criminal past came out, and he did this audio we're about to hear. And, so here we are. But, I mean, Rad Rob, I mean, what can I say? I mean, he's he's a weird guy. I mean, I didn't really know much about him. I thought he was a fake person when I first encountered him because of his enthusiasm for John Wangland's Wrestling with Reality. I thought it was like a bot, and it evolved, and he turned on the Get My Go guys, and it's been on ever since. He's taken some feverish shots at me, so I've come back at him with the bulldozer. So it's
Yes, and look, he very much hates me at this point, and
I think I might be right under you.
Yeah, I think I've got
slay right under you.
Yeah, I think I might be up there with top billing though.
You're definitely one.
Yeah, he's not impressed with the jokes I make about this situation on Twitter, and I've made a lot of them. And so he's definitely not going to be happy that I'm now playing his confession and laughing at it.
It makes me happy, so fuck him.
Yes, no, and I think it'll make a lot of people happy. I'm look forward to putting this episode in the Get My Go group on Facebook and getting the word around to Get My Go fans to come over to the United States of Australia and check out this one.
Just like they did to Perfectly Rated. They really supported Perfectly Rated. So, yes, I hope they really support this one, too.
Did they, or are you being sarcastic?
I'm being super sarcastic.
I was going to say. I didn't think that subs were flooding in for Perfectly Rated. So, but I would be stoked if we got your 1 or 2 subs. I would.
No, absolutely no. But I mean, I thought the Get My Go people would kind of eat it up a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. That last one we did about the Cumia thing and the Cumia and Bill Burr, I think that there's some good laughs in that.
No, that was very good, very good.
Yes. Jay Scoop, you got any opening thoughts before we hear this audio from what you've heard from us? What are you expecting here? I know you may vaguely know the story, but
not sure. Well, like how many episodes was that roughly in? Do you remember?
Oh, I've very early on, and you might not have even been on the episode, but very early on, because we made a Get My Go cold open where I think someone emailed about this particular story. But yes, it's been a long time since it's been talked about on our podcast airwaves.
Yeah, I'm a bit rusty. It was before I went to Ukraine and all that, so I'd have to probably hear a little bit of it to know for sure if I had listened to that one before.
Well,
once you hear his voice, you can't get it out of your head. So, unfortunate for you.
These guys have never heard his voice.
God. Well, sorry about this then.
Yes. Hey, guys.
Like Rad Rob we're talking about? Or
yes,
yeah.
Rad Rob.
Yeah. No, I definitely have heard Rad Rob before.
All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Say, I told you guys off air. Just raise your hand. Chad knows the drill, but raise your hand when you want to say something, and I'll pause it.
Would you tell somebody else something I told you in confidence? A very embarrassing part of my life that my mom doesn't even know about. My dad does. My mom still doesn't know.
Well, the internet's about to know, so I hope Mum doesn't find out.
This is where you choose if you want to listen to me any longer. If you think I'm a bad person.
Yes and yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, what happened on Raw last night?
Yes. Oh, I'll give a little bit of context to this as well. So before this confession, he had to put his dog down. And so he gave a tearful goodbye to his dog. So although I find it disgusting and I was going to edit it all out, I'm like, no, we need to grab the true essence of this moron. He's sniffing and all sorts throughout this because he's been crying about his dog. And then, yes, Chad, after this confession, he goes on to review a wrestling show.
There you go. Did he rub one out for his dog, too? But I mean, rub one out could mean in another country could mean have a drink.
Yeah, no, it means the same thing as what it means over there. All right, let's continue.
John's been holding this over my head. Ugh. 2006 in Enfield, Connecticut. I think it was 2006. I've tried to block it on my memory.
Pause.
I don't ever want to get arrested again.
To Catch a Predator. That's where they were located, I think, in that point, 2006, just for correlation purposes.
Yes.
I was arrested. I was in my spare room. I saw my neighbor lady from across the way. And
Oh
I
my
flashed
God.
for several minutes.
Now I've said this many times.
It's your
and,
favorite part.
I've quoted this many times. How can you flash someone for several minutes? That is an inherent contradiction.
That's not flashing.
Do you just stand there, open your coat, close it, open it, close it? You know, like he's found an interesting way to get around describing what he was up to. But I
Right.
think we're all getting the picture of what he was up to here, are we?
Listen, at 3:04 p.m. Eastern Central Time in Enfield, Connecticut, where the sun was facing the eastward pointed direction from the longitude, latitude. Who cares where you were located? Who cares what room you were in? Who cares what curtain pattern was hanging down in front of the window? Who cares about any of this? Why is he talking about this? Why is he giving this much detail about this incident that his mom doesn't even know about? Like, first of all, why would you want to tell your mom about this?
Oh, Jesus.
I think we should find his mom and send her some audio. Or his mom.
We'll keep families out.
Maybe he wishes he showed his mom. Maybe that's why it was. Maybe that's why he wanted to do a big reveal, if you know what I'm saying, or a little reveal, if you know what I'm saying.
I think this audio is about to pick back up at a nice big sniff.
I was going to say a big, yeah. I was going to say a lip
In my
smack or
own
sniff
house.
Yeah.
Not out in the public or anything like that.
Oh, wait. I got to back that up.
in his home house.
Back that up. We'll go back to where he said I flashed it for several minutes, just so everyone can let that sink in.
And I had flashed her for several minutes.
God.
In my own house, not out in the public or anything like that. I'm not making excuses.
God, his voice.
She called the cops.
That's good.
Just his voice is gonna. I'm gonna have nightmares about that fucking voice getting all intimate up close to the mic and saying that shit.
What are you talking about? This is a sexy voice. First of all, also for context on Rad Rob, it might have taken several minutes for him to get to where he needed to get to. That's the other thing too.
That is true.
Damn it.
Yes. You know,
Where
this is a 10-minute clip. We're a minute into it.
Cops were there watching me do it. And she was even.
Popcorn time.
Do we want to go back and just revisit that moment?
Wait, what?
So they're watching me do it. And she was even put her hand up to the window to get my attention when I backed away. And I had seen the police car drive down behind the buildings and must have walked up the hill through her back door. But I didn't think anything of it.
I didn't think anything of it. You're standing at the window with your dick in your hand, and you see a cop car. You don't think anything of it. Like at that point, surely you'd go, "Let's put my dick away and make sure the cops don't see this."
And he's so excited as he's saying this. He's like practically got the mic in his mouth, performing fellatio on it. Like what the fuck?
For somebody that doesn't like to talk about this, he seems like he likes to talk about it a lot. He's very in detail and graphic.
Well, he's trying to get that female demographic.
So they could witness what was going on. They had her put her hand up to the window and get my attention, and we're watching her. I saw them come out the front door. They came over and they arrested me.
Is that an instant soft on at that point? You know what I mean? Like, do you finish and then answer the door? How does it work?
Going back to where he said the cops were watching me, he made it sound like they were watching him the entire time he was, which was 3 minutes. Were like the cops in the person's apartment, or were they like just writing a report and then like halfway through a bite of the donut, just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
No, they were sitting at the window. They were jacking it too. They were like, look at that.
I was like,
that's awesome.
Are the cops just like watching him as he watches her? It was just that visual is very odd of a dude.
No,
like,
it's this one erotic zone of Enfield, Connecticut, where they were just all like this little, I guess, alleyway was everybody was just whacking it, looking at this his neighbor lady, as he called it.
And like I don't know if is this his only time he's been caught doing this? Because this sounds like a sting operation. Like, if the cops knew this was going to happen, like,
Well,
you
no,
know,
I
this is a
think-
repeat offender.
I think that she called the police. They came into her house.
Well,
and
that's a
then they-
fast fucking response time, then. Jesus.
They used to
He
do that.
He failed to mention he lived next to a police station.
Oh, wow.
They just walked over. Yeah.
Charged me with breach of peace and public indecency. Even though it was in front of a window. Semantics.
I mean,
Sat in a local
Semantics?
police station cell for a couple hours until my wife came and bailed me out.
Buried.
Very embarrassing to make that call.
God.
That was a Freudian slip.
imagine that phone call.
Wow.
Hey,
Well,
hey, babe.
did you
Hey,
hear-
babe. Hey, babe. Can you go pick up 2 buckets of chicken? We ran out of milk, and I need you to come bail me out at the police station. I was jacking into the window. All right. Talk to you later.
Can you
He, like,
please?
he accidentally said, I had my wife buried or bailed me out.
Yeah.
But he said buried at first. That was very,
He ends up dead. We know what happened.
Yes. I'm pretty sure she's in control of that house these days. Anyway,
But it's
Wait, they're
my
still
own act.
together?
I had to own up to
Oh, yeah.
it, but it was hard to do.
she ain't getting any worse.
I had a really shitty defense attorney, by the way. I'm not going to mention who it was, but
yeah.
ended up getting a few continuances and all that, and the victim fought it as well as she should. She was very
Yes, Chad.
Defense attorney was like, "You did what? You want me to say what? You crazy? I'm just a public defender. You nuts? Clank."
I mean, like, speaking for, so my dad's a public defender, and like, they're still good lawyers, but like, you get that type of call. No, a public defender isn't going to go above and beyond for a dude standing naked in front of his
Right.
window, jacking off in front of a poor innocent woman. Like, that's the stereotypical. Well, I did enough, so I got paid situation. And I love how he's like, she fought it. No, she didn't fight it. She just said, yeah, this creep over there was jacking off for 3 minutes. Can you prosecute him? There's nothing you have to fight. It was a
Right.
open and shut case.
Yeah.
distraught and very upset about the whole thing. She pushed it as far as she could, and that's her right. What I did was absolutely unacceptable. I was in a very bad place at that point. It was a couple of years before I got saved.
Boom.
Oh.
And you know what he's parlayed that into, Rox, you'll love this. So he learned from that and he got saved by Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So now that respect for women has switched over to, you get this, Rox, when it comes to abortion, I can quote him as saying, I don't want to hear about your rape and incest bullshit.
Oh, jeez. So he's
That's-
gone from,
Blood boil.
he's gone from, wow, okay.
No. Just for context, you know what I mean? When him pointing out that he was saved. And look, you know, I'm not a religious person, but pieces of garbage like this are the ones that make good Christians, you know, give good Christians a bad name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is
Right
fucking
here.
tons of good Christians out there, and fucking loudmouth pricks like this are the ones that give them a bad name.
I've never had the same political and religious beliefs as somebody and disagreed with somebody more on both things that he spouts publicly.
I might have to re-examine some of my beliefs just based on what he does. Like, I'm not saying I believe what he's believing, but this is one of those, there's certain people in society that you find out you agree with them on something and you're just like, ooh, that's kind of creepy. Like, how can we have to share the same opinion about anything?
It's
So,
the worst, and it's across the board. Like, Chad, you know, like the whole Shuley on Shuley's Anonymous, you know, like the people that dislike Shuley, and I dislike Shuley, but I go to that page and I'm like, whoa, can everyone just settle down? Like, you're making us all sound like maniacs. Like,
Yeah.
we've got some solid points about how we think he's lazy and he's not very funny. You're talking about his family and shit.
It's
Like,
got nothing
pump
to
the
do with
brakes.
Judaism or anything having to do with the Jewish religion.
Exactly. You just say, these people don't speak for me. No, I don't want them speaking for me. All right, should we kick it back off? We're still only 2.5 minutes into a 10-minute clip, so we should get going.
Lip smack away.
There's nothing scarier than sitting back of a police car with cuffs on and sitting in a cell.
I'm sorry, nothing scarier. What about watching this big fat fuck masturbate in the window?
Yeah. That's
That'd be
fucking
pretty scary.
traumatizing.
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. Not even knowing if my wife's going to show up after I called her. She didn't have to. I went through many
Out your mouth.
court dates, throughout the next few months. Eventually, the ruling came out, and she had an advocate speak for her because she didn't want to speak at any of the hearings. So she had an advocate.
Because she'd seen more than enough of
Because
you.
she's traumatized.
And they sentenced me to 2 years probation, and I had to go to sexual offender classes. I was never, ever a registered sex offender, which John, if he was ever going to, he held this over my head.
If you reach the point in podcasting where you have to clarify that you've never been a registered sex offender, like, it might be time to stop, right? Like, is this the point you want to reach?
He's shitting on his attorney, and his attorney did a hell of a job getting him not to be a sex offender. I think he should go back and whenever he paid that attorney, double
Right.
it.
I agree. And he should be labeled a fucking sex offender.
Well, I mean, this is even worse in a weird way because, like, sex
Yeah, well,
offenders
people should know that next
Yeah,
door.
no, but I mean, people can blend in with society. It's hard when you have this out on the internet. Like, it's not just a photo; it's an entire story of how I'm the weirdest dude in Connecticut.
Well, he lives in, where is it? Tennessee now, isn't it?
Tennessee. Yeah, but odds are none of us would have ever looked for this. None of us would have ever
Yeah,
gone
that's
that
what-
far to say, oh, hey, we're going to go and look up Rad Rob's background and
And
criminal
that's the way it is
history.
with most predators. Like, you don't know because you're not making the effort to go background check everybody. This guy's just like, fuck background checks. I'll just make a podcast and spray it all over it. Oh, that was a bad
Dean,
pun.
what year was this put out?
This was 2020, so just after he'd split. This was like the very beginning of Get My Go.
Okay.
So, like, yeah.
So did we know about this when, well, I wasn't around when Get My Go started, but when Get My Go started, was this known by the group?
Episode 4 is called Flogging the Dolphin. So we had.
Okay, all right, that's okay. But I'm saying when the show started.
When the show started, no. It was about
Okay.
it was about a week or two into the show, I think.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, at that point, everybody on the panel here and everybody listening's got to realize he's probably saying this to 50 listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
So think about that. You're outing this news. You're outing this public news and traumatizing, apparently, news to 50 people at max.
No, exactly.
Wow.
And by leaving it up for all this time, like
60 people have now heard it.
yeah, no, no, good one. But no, it got clipped and retweeted by Sean Ross Sapp.
Sean Ross Sapp. And
I
hundreds of
remember
thousands of people heard it.
Hundreds of thousands of people heard his not this 10-minute clip. It was clipped down to just I saw my neighbor from across the way, and I flashed her for several minutes.
For several minutes.
Yes, that was the key part. But yeah, all of a sudden, thousands of people have heard this. When at the end of the day, I don't believe John Wangland would have ever revealed this story. He was just fucking with Rob, that he knew that he had that fucking information. But regardless, it's great that he put it out and that he's left it out for this long. Let's continue.
And said, don't mistake me, my kindness for anything else. Like, he even made his cryptic little videos on Twitter when he was coming back, even though he was gone for 2 weeks and said, I don't know if I'm ever coming back again. And then 2 weeks later, he's back.
Sorry, just quickly, he's now talking about Johnny Podcasting, who I did podcasting with, and this guy, Rad Rob. That's where I started in podcasting a few years ago. Didn't know the story until Get My Go, the flogging the dolphin story. He didn't confide that one in me. But so he's now talking about Johnny Podcasting, who had this information and was holding it over his head. So he's going to somehow turn this into he's the victim. I think that's what he's trying to do here.
Social media accounts are back on. Makes little cryptic videos. I'm not deflecting at all. Trust me, I'm not deflecting off this story at all. Just telling you what's been going on and why I'm saying something. I'm taking the power back from John.
Whoa.
Made a video on.
Sorry, just quickly there as well. He played Rage Against the Machine leading into this as well. You know, just.
I was about to ask that. That's whoa.
Yeah.
His Twitter account at WWR Podcast of Rob the Robot, which is me, Lionel Richie, which obviously is Richie Riordan, a Philly cheesesteak, which is Joe Feeney, and a leprechaun, which is Adam Hughes. Because he hates us so much. Even though he loves us. He listened to his last show he did, his goodbye show. Nothing but peace and love, right? Oh, I made those videos because you were being mean online, or you were retweeting Hughes's and Feeney's stuff because he fucking hates them so much. Let me tell you, those guys have been good to me.
Chad, what's Rob's relationship with those guys these days?
Persona non grata. Well, I mean, maybe they still might chat behind the scenes, but not anything collaboratively anymore. But I still, I was thinking about it. I still can't believe that anybody even did anything with Wangland. You know, that's going back even 3 or 4 years. I can't believe that. I can't even picture Feeney doing anything with Wangland.
It's funny now to look back.
It doesn't even seem like they'd be in the same class.
Well, you guys wouldn't know me, and Get My Go wouldn't know me. Like if I didn't start with Wangland. It's kind of crazy. Like he did kind of launch one, because I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast without having done the Get My Go thing and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I owe Wangland a debt of gratitude. I met a bunch of great people because of him, I associated with him for about 7 months or something.
You rose through the ranks. You're the one. We saved you, right? We handpicked you out of that group. We like, no, this guy's got the talent, right? But like Feeney, for all he's rose to and he's accomplished and still doing, like, can't even picture him talking to Wangland anymore.
No,
it's crazy.
It's hard to believe now. It really is
Monumental.
huge and monumental. Yeah,
and Feeney's not a jerk. Feeney's not like an arrogant jerk. I just can't even picture what they would talk about.
Mate, it's funny. He used to be on a bunch of podcasts with them, and if those are still available, you go back. Yeah, it is awkward. It's really awkward conversation. But anyway, again, we're only halfway through this.
We buried the hatchet. John's so pissed off about it because he absolutely hates them. I can't be friends with them because he hates them so much. Like, I'm not allowed to be friends with them. I'm not allowed to retweet their stuff or like their stuff because John will spill the beans. The second video puts out, the first picture was a flasher. The guy opening up his trench coat, facing the other way. I knew it.
Now, I got to give Wangland credit on that one. And at the time, I remember when that video came out, and I was like, "What's with the dude flashing?" Because I didn't know this story, so it was a great little fucking dig from Wangland, and he got exactly what he wanted. This dumb fuck is sitting here revealing the whole situation. Like, it's great.
I'm going to take the power back.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about me, and he was threatening me like he's going to put this out. It's the only reason why I called him back after the voicemail he left me was to say, I don't ever go public with this, John. Anyway. Never once have I been a registered sex offender. It's public knowledge. I couldn't even find my arrest. Like, I even looked up Enfield, Connecticut website this morning or the Hartford Courant to find it. So it's
somebody found it. I will say that.
Harambe?
Yes, Harambe.
I did what I was mandated to do. And I haven't done anything since. Never been arrested since. Never been in trouble since. Never done any of that since.
I've never been arrested once. I'm going to say that. Like, I've never had to clarify that I've never been arrested since because I've never been arrested once. Has anyone here on the panel been arrested before?
Yes.
No.
I'm not shocked that you
Scoop. I was going to say,
Come on.
the only person I thought would say yes was Scoop, and I was almost certain he was going to say yes.
Why?
I don't know.
Ex-military, and you probably fucking snapped at some cunt someday.
Yeah.
No, actually, oddly enough, my arrest led to my military career.
Oh, okay. Well, that's. Do you want to give a quick explanation, and we'll do a deep dive on another episode?
Sure. I lived across the street from City College. My friend and I used to break into all the buildings over there. We didn't know what everything was. And then the last building we broke into ended up being a student bookstore. We were trying to get the candy in there, and then the cops came in and busted us.
Yeah. Well, that's. I could say that'd be harmless.
And that was right before my senior year of high school. So then, of course, nobody trusted me, all this bullshit. I was spiraling, and then I chose the military to right the ship.
We never got caught, but when I was in high school, we went back to our elementary school because there was basketball courts there. And then we just went down to this area and we just threw a ball against the wall and it hit this door and the door just popped open and it was all the fucking sports equipment. So yeah, we snagged a few fucking basketballs and blah, blah, blah. Like it's fucking boys will be boys. You know what I mean? If you can get in, like, yeah, I got no problem with that.
Target of opportunity.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to Rob.
Ugh, God.
But I had to go to these classes in Hartford with actual registered sex offenders and pedophiles and listen to their stories about them raping their kids or their cousins or nephews or 3-year-old babies.
And even these guys heard his story and went, ew.
They were like, you still had it out when the cops came? Like, what an animal.
Rookie.
Yeah, you know the fucking chain of DNA they had to go through to catch me, and you're just sitting there fucking beating it in front of the cop? What's wrong with you?
Disgusting, horrible things. And these guys weren't even in prison. I'm not even going to tell you about how fucked up the Connecticut judicial system is.
Apparently, it's bad.
Felonies and had to go to the same class that I did as a misdemeanor. Not saying what I did was right or any different. Like, I broke the law. But you know how horrible and horrifying it was to sit with these people and listen to their stories?
Good. I'm glad you had to.
That sucks for you.
Yeah.
I love how he says he broke the law, like somebody that gets a traffic citation. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Hey, here you go, sir. Beating off in front of your neighbor. That's a $50 fine. If you could pay that swiftly. Yeah.
About what they did to kids. I went through that for a few months. My probation officer, Julie, was amazing. She came to my house every couple of weeks, checked my computer history. I wasn't allowed to have any pornography in the house or any videos with any nudity and anything like that. I abided by all the rules.
Any videos with nudity.
Imagine not being able to watch porn. Court fucking mandated not allowed to watch porn because you might get the urge to go to the window.
I had to tell my dad because we went, I bought him tickets for Father's Day to go to the Red Sox game. And I had to tell him because I wasn't allowed to leave the state without letting them know and having someone to watch me, a guardian, even though I'm a grown adult, but somebody to vouch for me and keep an eye on me to make sure I don't do anything illegal. So I had to tell him. Very embarrassing. But it is what it is. I had to tell him because I wanted to go with him. And we had one of the best days of our life. This was the first time they ever let anybody on the field, pretty much. We got to go in the outfield after the game, after Poppy hit a walk-off double for the win in extra innings.
Do you love it? He's getting into a happy memory where somebody appointed by the state had to go with them. So he had the best day of his life with his dad and his guardian.
Was his dad the guardian though? I think he had to tell the dad to be the guardian.
I guess.
Listen, I mean, I don't know how many people have been to baseball games. Do they let the kids on the field run the bases after games
Exactly.
sometimes? So that's kind of like what they were telling him not to do, was to be around those kinds of scenarios. So the rules are getting a little stretched there. I don't know.
I love how he says if it was like a one-of-a-kind experience when,
Right.
depending on when this happened, it's Fenway of all places. They had to institute a ban on fans pouring ashes in the field because they had such shitty security back then, like even 5-10 years ago. So him acting like it was this big thing that he got in the field, like, yikes.
Yeah, wait, great place to go. A place where families get into fights because they're drunk, falling over themselves. You know, a team that was like integrated for being the most racist franchise in the history
last
of
team to integrate,
professional
yeah.
baseball. Boston Red Sox, baby. That's the way to go.
Well, I guess you could say he's amongst his own then. I don't know.
Right. Hey, we only got 2.5 minutes to go. I think now we're nearly there.
And we got to go on the field and have a catch, as they used to say on Field of Dreams. We'd throw a ball around in the Fenway outfield, which was amazing. Always
Catch a
reminds me of the movie.
predator,
Hey,
I've just got a visual in my head of him, like with the girl throw, like.
pretty. This is not video. I might have to
And
put
his
this one
dad,
up
like
on
his
YouTube.
dad threw it back, and his dad like fired one back and went right over his glove, and then he had to go run after it.
How stoked do you think Kevin Costner is to get a Field of Dreams reference into a masturbation confession?
Oh man.
Favorite pitch when Jimmy Fallon jumped out of the crowd, went on the field, and the cops were chasing around, and they asked him, "What did the grass feel like?" He's like, "Oh, it was spongy or something." Like, I was like, whatever. Like, it's just funny. Like, it was hallowed ground, so civilians never got to go on, and it was cool. It was really cool. So I'm
Okay,
glad I had
yeah,
that
like I
moment
just
to
said,
picture.
they let kids go run the bases after games, like in
Every weekend
stadium.
game.
I mean, it's something they do all the time. Hang on, let me drop this little story. I got a private tour of Shea Stadium by a New York City detective in 2000, and I got to walk on the field, the hallowed grounds of Shea Stadium, and I got to sit in the dugout and go on the bullpen phone and throw pitches off the bullpen mound. Whoa, you don't hear me going on podcasts and talking about it.
Well, you
the
just
hallowed
did.
ground of Shea Stadium, you know.
All right, Chad, do you want to end your rant?
No. Pass. His dad was embarrassed. He wished he was there with somebody else.
My dad in front of the green monster. So he knew what was going on.
Pause.
Never told my
What color shirt was he wearing? Because he was there for whatever color shirt monster.
mom. I was too embarrassed. I don't know if she's ever going to hear this. She might. It is what it is. It's 14 years ago. I did what I was supposed to do. Stayed on probation, never violated it. Went to all the classes, took a polygraph at the end, proving that I never had any illegal acts with a minor or anything like that, which I wasn't even in there for that. But I still had to do it. And it's over. And I did my time on probation. I did what the court mandated to do. And I got saved in 2009.
Again with the saved. Ugh.
Saving grace.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's so. It's this thing of I did everything I was supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. Like, as in, people can't make fun of him now. You know what I mean? Like, what does everyone remember Pee Wee Herman for? Forget what he did in his career. What do we remember Pee Wee Herman for? And that's all anyone ever. This is it forever, Rob. If you ever want to be a success, if you ever get anywhere, this will always follow you. It doesn't matter what you did. People could still make fun of this because it's incredibly embarrassing.
I became a born again Christian because I had a sex addiction or porn
Hey,
addiction.
hold up.
Ugh.
People that have sex addictions usually are just one-time offenders, but he was making it sound like this is a one-off. like I don't know, it was an out of body experience what he did to get arrested.
You're right.
Because like remember how Tiger Woods, he was like, oh, this is a one-off thing, and then it was like, oh well, no, these 45 other times were just because I'm a sex offender or I'm addicted to sex. Like, I feel like he's not telling the whole story here, and the way he rushes through.
Yep.
But that's also Tiger Woods, who's like, I could go literally into any room and be like, that one.
Yeah, but
that one.
But,
he's like, oh, I could go to any window and be like, yeah, oh, well, that's right. Yeah. That's right. You know, I mean, yeah, but the sex addiction, he might have just admitted that maybe he had a lot of porn. Maybe that was the thing that he was addicted to, and that was his addiction, right? So maybe he did have a sex addiction, and it was porn. And that in 2006,
yeah, good point.
We didn't have these things. We had to have physical media.
Yeah, you didn't have, like in 2006, it's probably all still on his hard drive, but back then, you're right. You had to. You didn't have X videos and Pornhub and RedTube and all this shit. So, yeah. But I mean, we all watch a lot of porn and jerk off all the time, don't we? Like, isn't that just the human?
Yeah, you go back. You know, back then it's like you had those file sharing sites like LimeWire,
and Napster, and
Napster. And I mean, how it would take you to get a 10-minute video. Take you 4 fucking days to get.
Yes.
So I mean, like,
and you'd get 6 viruses come along with it.
Yeah, exactly. Your software's now compromised, but you know what? You got exactly what you were looking for after the 3 days was over. So you know.
What I find most bonkers about this is when I'm jerking off, I don't want anybody to see that. Like. You know, like a woman doing it can be pretty sexy, but a man, it's just so furious and angry. You know what I mean? Like it's not a good look. It's not a good sight. So like, yeah, that thought of anyone catching me or watching me do it, really terrifies me. So to actually like look across the way and go, oh, hello, she can see me.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he's denied jerking it. But what else are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And you flash someone for several minutes, waving it, like
tricks,
swinging it, Maybe it's like, have you guys seen the guys that do the fucking penis tricks on stage?
No,
and they helicopter.
Yeah, Ric Flair's got the helicopter, but no, there was I wish I remember their name. But yeah, maybe they were just Australian. I don't know, but they used to do stage shows where they do tricks with their dicks. So maybe that's what Rad Rob was into. I don't know.
What else did they do over there in Australia? Tricks with their dicks.
Yeah.
My God. I thought we just had chicks with dicks in America, but you guys got tricks with dicks.
Well, Rad Rob will tell you there's no such thing as chicks with dicks, just dudes with tits.
And he jerks it
like other stupid shit, you know, like being arrested. And my wife, God bless her, has stuck with me through the whole time. She's an amazing woman. And John knew about this for months and still did business with me. I was still his business partner. He never left me. I was never such a horrible, deplorable human being. He thinks I'm a, frickin' sex offender or whatever. Like, that's what he's going to tell people. If I kept up, he warned me. He's like, if you keep being mean or keep retweeting their stuff or saying anything about me publicly, then I'm going to come out with it,
Isn't that kind of a fair thing when it comes to beefing? Like, if you're going to keep shit talking someone, like, we have destroyed John Wanglin on Get My Go. But when you hear this and you look back, I kind of got to give Wanglin credit. Like, he played Rob like a fucking puppet. That doesn't even make sense. He played Rob like a banjo. I don't know. But
like a fiddle.
Yes, like a fiddle. I got to give him credit. And at the end of the day, Rob did get very cocky when he got aligned with the Get My Go crew, and he thought he was untouchable. And so I think John was just trying to, check himself, trying to get him to check himself before he wrecked himself. But, well, here's the audio. So, yeah.
Right, but hang on, but that's why you don't share these intimate, personal details with people that you really don't know that well. I mean, I as great as I've gotten to associate with yourself, Husey, Feeney, Durban, and all these other great people that I know, I'm not sitting there bearing my soul about my deepest, darkest, most intimate secrets to you guys. I'm like, hey, can you go at Wednesday 12:30? You know, like, and we're gonna talk about X, Y, and Z. It's not like, hey, man, you're never gonna believe what happened to me in 2006. Like, you're not gonna believe this. This is crazy, right? But don't tell anybody ever. Not going to happen. But, you know, there's the people I have established relationships with might know more details about stuff. And so you can't really, you got to be careful about what you do to that person because they got they know where the bodies are buried. And that's what's tough.
Yeah. And look, for me, like the thing that I'm most ashamed of in my life, I've actually told on this podcast. But again, it was illegal what I was doing. And you know, the story's out there. You can go back into the old Malatown episodes, but you know, it's more, I'm most ashamed of it because of just where I was at in my life at that time with drugs and all of that shit. It's not a proud moment to look back on, but the story's pretty funny and crazy. So I was like, this is a good story to tell. This is not like, it is funny and crazy for us, but for you, like, how could you, yeah, I just can't get over the fact that he thought it was a good idea to tell this story. I think we've got about a minute to go, if that.
Thank God.
Like a bully, just hold that power over my head. Well, I'm taking the power back, John. You're a piece of shit. You're a liar, and you're a manipulator, and you are a bully. You preach peace and love. You tell people you're an ordained minister.
Yes, Robbie.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I'll take the power back. I'll share everyone on one of the biggest creeps in the world. Like, that's a win for me. Yeah, I flashed everybody, but guess what? I'm admitting to it. Like, you're still a loser in a situation.
And after explaining this entire story, you're going to sit there and call somebody else a piece of shit?
Yeah, that too.
Chad, did you have something to say? Or?
No, I was doing peace and love.
Oh, good. Yeah.
You say you got nothing but love for me and Richie. But if I keep triggering you or setting you off, you're going to complain to Spreaker. And you're probably going to complain to Spreaker about this, just like you complain to Spreaker about the truth show that Richie and I put out. The real truth about what happened between all of us that I took down because I had violated Spreaker's, harassment policies.
Now that you guys be familiar with that, all of this stuff sounds like Shane behavior. That's what was so pathetic about all of this was like, it was funny with Durbin and Feeney and Husey getting those guys on to do the truth and expose the truth. But these three idiots fighting amongst themselves about a podcast that fucking half a dozen people listen to. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous that there was all this petty back and forth. Nearly done.
He complained to Spreaker about Joe Feeney and Adam Hughes and Mike Durbin when they put their shows out. Just recently, too. Because you're a snowflake.
Yeah, that's where I chose to cut it.
Thank God.
Because you're a snowflake.
So what are our closing thoughts on Rad Rob's confession? Start with you. No, we'll close with the female. I like to close with the female perspective on this. Scoop.
Fucking nightmares, dude. That guy's sucking a cock every time he makes a statement or something. He's like, and then, of course, more disturbing, whatever the fuck he says right after it. Oh, my God. Nightmares.
Robbie, what was your takeaway from it?
It's like, I don't know, the way he was trying to go for like an audiobook, the way he was like pausing and everything, it was just, it was one of the weirdest things I've ever listened to. It was similar when they got audio tapes on serial killers, obviously being serial killers worse, but it was like, I don't know, I can't fathom how he thought this was a W on his part to tell this story under any circumstance, let alone why he did it and this for this.
Sorry, Ozzy, I forgot to put the disclaimer about the sucking cock. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yes, of course. Yes. Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Chad stuff.
I just think it's all part of the, the cataclysmic downfall, but never really like uptick of Rad Rob. I mean, he has this overinflated view of what he has done and who he is. And I just think that this is something that never, ever should have seen the light of day. We should never have known about this. You talk about wrestling. That's it.
Yeah.
We should never know about anything outside of the fact of, well, actually, to tell you the truth, we shouldn't even know about what you think about wrestling because
Yeah.
nobody gives a flying fuck. That's number one. But number two, like, why, if you really, truly are some sort of dork and listen to this guy and his opinions about wrestling, why would you want to hear this? I would instantly unsubscribe and never want to listen to him again. And not based off of what he did, but just based off of who cares? Why are you bringing this to your platform? Nobody wants to hear this if I'm subscribing to a wrestling channel. So I just think this is two guys that were fighting over a pretend business relationship where on a podcast that made zero money, that had zero listenership, and had zero stranglehold over any bit of a wrestling genre. Okay, never should have been brought to light. Never should have seen the light of day. I think this is a huge L for Mr. Rad Robian.
Yes, definitely. And look, for a guy to have this in your past, the way he fucking burns bridges with people is crazy. He will fucking burn it to the ground when someone decides they don't want to associate with him anymore. Just been like, dude, look, it's not working out. Then he'll go on and fucking expose anything he can and call him the biggest piece of shit on the planet. If I had this in my past, I would be so friendly to everybody because I wouldn't want anyone digging that shit up. So that's pretty crazy. Queen Roxanne, what are your thoughts on this big fat disgusting slob?
Disgusted, and I'm really glad I have good curtains in my bedroom. And the way he tried to become the victim in all this was just that's like manipulative fucking psychotic behavior. It's gross.
Now, good curtains for the outside in or for the inside out?
Yeah.
Which side?
Yeah. I'm gonna close this segment out with I'm really proud of this tweet. It's one of my favorite tweets that I directed at Rad Rob throughout all of this. So Rob was on a podcast with a guy by the name of Brad Shepard, and the podcast was called Brad Shepard Unleashed. And Rob put out a tweet about how they were going to be really unleashed on this upcoming episode, and they're really fired up. And I replied with, there is a code red curtains closed warning in Tennessee until Rad Rob can be releashed. I was very proud of that one.
Rad Rob would probably want to be relished, but on his hot dog, maybe.
Brilliant. Chad, thanks for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. There's been some good laughs. It's been great to have you on. Let everyone know everything you got going on.
Sure. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at Chad IANB. Thanks to my new good, great friend, Cav Manning, for helping me phonetically spell out my Twitter handle. I've been saying it ENB, IANB, but he said if you search it, he thought ENB. So yeah. Chad IANB on Twitter, at IB Exclusives on Instagram. I got a sports memorabilia company named IB Exclusives, where I do signings with professional athletes and professional wrestlers and celebrities. All that information's on ibexclusives.com. That is my business. Please help me grow and support it. But I also do a ton of podcasts, including the great Get My Go, which is back and with a vengeance and better than ever. And you can catch us on YouTube. You can also catch us in audio form. Search Get My Go. Eyes Up Here with the Queen of Extreme from ECW, Francine. That's on YouTube. Subscribe. Get a channel membership. If you grew up watching ECW, we are the show for you. We've got some of the most behind-the-scenes ECW content anybody's ever put out there. So please help that show grow, because we are under the radar as it relates to ECW content, and I don't know how to else organically grow a show more than this one. So subscribe if you like the old school ECW. I got another little show called Perfectly Rated that I started, but it's like, I've got to go back to it at some point. I thought the Get My Go audience would get behind it a little bit more, but nonetheless, it hasn't. But I also I had somebody lined up for episode 3. It didn't pan out, and I haven't circled back to reschedule it. So it's on YouTube. Go look it up. But I've got a huge database of past shows over the TMPT empire of podcasts. I've got a show called Diamond Conversations, which you can go search on iTunes. Tons. My body of work is vast, and it's out there. Go search it. And I appreciate you having me on here today.
No, we appreciate you coming on. Robbie's eyes just widened as he was listening to all of your stuff going, this guy seems like he might actually be a big deal. What's he doing on this show?
Well, I've always said, and I'll put you over on your own show, one of my favorite people in podcasting is the Aussie guy. So anytime he calls, I will ask. And I'll be honest with you, I did forget that we were doing this today. So thank God you messaged me yesterday. I was like, absolutely, I'll be there. But I almost had too bad my softball team got eliminated from our playoffs last night, or we would have had to reschedule because the championship game was at noon today. So fortunately, I'm here today.
Well, I'm glad you lost. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. It always makes me uncomfortable when people are nice to me. But no, you're one of the best, Chad. And Robbie, yeah, definitely check out Diamond Conversations. You're a baseball guy.
Oh yeah, hey, Mariners. Scott Bradley's been on the show. Who else from the Mariners? Hey, there's a couple on there. So check it out. I haven't done it in about 2 years, but it was starting to really pick up steam. But unfortunately, sometimes I get a little bored and I just move on. So sorry.
You're a legend, Chad. Everybody go subscribe to everything he does. He is a great guy, one of the truly good people I've met amongst all this podcasting. I hope to link up with you on Get My Go soon, Chad. And thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Guys and gals.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
See ya. Take care.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Jay Scoop, what do you got to plug?
At Mariner Robbie.
Oh, sorry. At
Yeah, I
Jesse
just dropped my
Crean.
phone.
That's JESSECREAN on Twitter.
That's it for your plugs.
Yeah.
Robbie, what do you got to plug?
You can find. God damn it! Now I'm so self-conscious about my voice. I hate it when you do this.
Hurry up, dickhead.
While he's gathering himself, I'm going back to Ukraine on August 1st. That's my announcement.
Soon.
And you're going to be there for a long time too, aren't you?
Yeah, probably at least a year.
You think I do well?
You're still
think I
going to be
do
on the
well?
podcast, though, right? As long as you're not getting bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I am getting bombed, as long as I got reception.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to have that in the background, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It'd be fucking
It'd
good,
bring up
golden
the
podcasting.
ratings. Yeah.
For sure.
I might not
Robbie,
be doing much. I might not be doing much now. Do you think I fit in well in Ukraine?
Well, when we talk about you fitting in places,
Yeah.
that immediately makes me nervous. But yeah,
walked into that,
you
Robbie.
do all right.
Robbie, I just heard a guy that I've become a fan of, Patrick Melton. Nobody Likes Onions is the podcast, and on YouTube. Guy's really funny. I heard a joke from his stand-up, which applies to Robbie. Robbie has a condition where he's too short for his weight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he has a condition. It's called out of.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Anyway, Robbie, plug.
I wasn't having a heart attack. I was trying to.
I thought Cardiac Stanley.
At this point,
rerun.
Even when you do your plug, I'm going to fucking edit it out because you're fucking wasting my time. Hurry up.
No, I'm not. If it's going to be edited out, I don't want to waste off.
No, I'm not going to edit it out. Just fucking do it. Jesus Christ.
At Mariner Robbie on Twitter.
Great.
There now.
You
Oh,
waited-
it's too bad it's not on video yet because you could have just put my voice in when his lips
Yes.
moved.
I might do that anyway. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. When we get to that point, it's going to be Scoop, not Robbie. That's great.
Maybe Shane's right about you being a bully. Jesus Christ.
Roxanne, what do you got?
I am at F Queen Roxanne on Twitter. The F and Q are big. We are at USA of A on Twitter.
It's not
And
of. It's USA pod.
Okay, sorry, USA of US podcast. And our email,
Jesus Christ.
US.
USA pod.
Yeah, what you said.
Yeah. What's that new email? That's probably the US of Oz at
yeah, it's
gmail.com.
Australia at gmail.com.
US of Australia at gmail.com. Is that what it is?
To be fair, it took her how many episodes
I
of
know.
Mallertown to get it down? So this is only episode 3.
Yeah.
We got like 40 something more.
Australia at gmail.com. I was right.
All right, that was all breaking up anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. God damn it.
40 something more episodes. She'll get
Yeah,
it.
we'll get there. We'll get there. I was going to say, yeah, look, the YouTube channel is still Mellowtown. I'm going to get to work on changing that, but we are definitely going to do some live streams on YouTube, and I've spoken to B Dabbler, who I do some live streams with from time to time, and we're going to collaborate with him, and we're going to use him to try and maybe get some subscribers and get some new eyes. We're going to do a show combined with him in our usual time slot. He does 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. So, yeah, we will do our usual recording. Not that anyone cares about our usual recording time. But anyway, point being, we're going to go do some YouTube live stuff. It'll be fun. You can interact with us, all of that. Outside of that, everything Chad plugged. But otherwise on Twitter, I am at that Sussy guy. Just imagine that Aussie guy and put an S where the A should be. We'll catch you next time on United States of Australia.